Hello there, my name is John. Welcome to my channel, and welcome to the first episode of my Heroes of Magic 3 Fan-Made Mod Towns Review. In this series, we'll be looking at every fan-made town I could find, which I'm pretty confident is all of them. Every custom-made town. We'll be looking at their town design, their tier units, comparing them with one of the 9 base units, be it from the Knight, from the Rampart, from the Dungeon, from Conflux, whatever the 9 base and expansion maps. I'll also be showing these units in battle. A heads up, as you can tell, this Heroes is modded. There's some changes that I've added into here that make it I like myself, but it's not going to be the base game exactly. In this episode, we'll be looking at Mythology Town. Alright, so here is a Mythology Town from the outside. Looks pretty badass as it is. Very much that Roman Greek mythology feel to it. Here it is pre-built, with no construction other than the one builder I have no control over, the Centaurs. If you're not familiar with this, every new game, we have a chance of having either 1 or 2 buildings constructed. Sometimes 3 if we get lucky. This time I got 1. So this is how this looks here. Pretty good. I mean, obviously you can do better, but I mean, it's not so bad already. So let's see the units. Tiers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. These are all pre-upgraded, keep that in mind. I will show you the upgraded versions in a minute. Or a little bit later, excuse me. Alright, so here's a fully upgraded Mythology Town. Every building is constructed and maxed out. Let's show you the building, shall we? Let's take a look at each building quickly. We have our typical tavern, which is obviously for morale. Blacksmith is obviously ballistae. Resource silos, 1 crystal. Your mage guilds, of course. Mana vortex doubles the amount of spell points once per week for any hero visiting. Portal allows you to upgrade any neutral creatures. The merchant allows you to buy artifacts. Academy battle gives 1,000 experience per hero. You see a similar idea to that in the Knight or the Castle faction. Centaurus Horde increases your Centaurus to 7 per week. And then the units themselves. Very badass looking. I love this. I love this. I love to see the buildings up here and all this. It was all amazing. Here's a battle with the unupgraded units. You have your regular Centauri, the regular Furies, the regular Tritons, the Gorillas, Minotaurs, Cobra, and Topo Guards. This Lydia's tactics is insane. It gives her the ability to get her units anywhere on the battlefield before they even have a chance to move, which is an absolute nightmare for range units. If you watch the part where I compare units, you will see these units are not the fastest in the game, or they're not all the quickest units around. They're not super bad, but they're also not what you would call lightning quick. Well, other than one of them, of course, but the ability to have it in the middle anywhere at any time is outstanding. Like, how unfair is this, really? They don't even get a chance to move. They'll just be stabbed instantly and killed instantly. This creature? This isn't even right. Sneaky boys. And then for extra backup. I don't need it, but why not? Just do this. It's unnecessary, but this is so mean. Crunch. Let's see. Bite. Wow, you're still alive. I am actually impressed. Oh yeah, I'm part of the unupgraded army. Right. Forgot. This isn't the upgraded army. Respirer go strike. Minotaur go strike. Oh, wait. Stab him. Oh, you're no fun. Dunk. And smack. You know you've been playing for a while? Well, this is your money. Look at my wood. 204 wood. 178 stone. Or ore. I've been playing for way too long with this character. Here is the fully upgraded Mythology unit in battle. So you have your Furious Gorillas, your Triton Warriors, your Minotaur Lords, your Ancient Cobras, your Witchberries, Furies, your Temple Defenders, and your Centurious Warriors. This is very unfair, to say the least, to the AI. This is a very bad match. Crunch. You survived that, really. I'm surprised you survived that. You see the different design to this now because of my new backgrounds. Dunk. Wow. How are you guys still alive? You impressed me. Obviously they're no match. Didn't show you them. Really? The double smack too, huh? I see you. It's not gonna help you at all. These guys aren't even hurt. Go Schnicky boys. Boom. So that was the fully upgraded army. It wasn't much of a fight, but it's something. We reached a part of the video where we're going to be comparing tier 1 through 7 units with comparable similar units from the main cities such as Rampart, Dungeon, Tower, Necropolis, and the others you are given in the main game and the expansion. We're going to see how they do against units of a similar style, such as range versus range, fly versus fly, snake versus snake, and etc., and to see if they are better, worse, or hopefully comparable with the main game units. Tier 1 and the Centaur versus Centauri. Initially, we can see that the Centaur has a little bit of an attack bonus, with a much lower defense skill, 5 to 3, or 3 to 5. Their damages, the Centaur has a small edge damage by 1 HP minimum. Their health is the same, and their speed is the same. Their size is the same, but the Centauri has an edge, and their champion charge, where they have a plus 5 damage per hex travels. That's pretty amazing. They are very weak animals. I mean, they get hit and crushed very, very easily. I've lost a lot in my own playing. I'm just testing this out. They're not necessarily amazing, but they're better than the regular Centaur. Moving on to the Centaur Captain was the Centurious Warrior. The Centurious Warrior has a big lead here. They are both champion charge and immune to fear, and cheaper than the Centaur Captain. The Centaur Captain has them beaten very little on attack, but they lose a lot of defense comparatively. The Centurious Warriors are somehow better than the best tier 1 unit in the base game. Moving on to tier 2, the Furies versus the Harpies. I figured the Harpies and the Furies are a good match. They're the only units in tier 2 that fly, at the grade 1. They're also the ones that have a similar stat, and the only ones that have very similar style of combat, where you would use them a certain way. So, comparing them, it's pretty clear to me that the Harpy and the Harpy Hag have the advantage in this. Stat-wise, they're pretty much locked. Attack's the same, defense is the same, damage is pretty much the same by a little bit. Half of them more on the Fury's side. The speed is locked as well in the beginning, but the Harpies are a little bit more expensive. But the ability to striking return is a very valuable ability. I don't see any creature actually not doing that. That annoying striking return is so aggravating, it's a good way for it. State of the Harpy Hags. The Witch Furies have a Mind Spell immunity, but it's not going to be enough to outdo the striking return. The damage on the Witch Furies is pretty good. Again, 7 but over 6, defense is the same. The damage is a little bit more in the Witch Furies corner. The health in the Harpy Hag corner, so it's pretty much a lot. The speed in the Harpy Hag is always a lot different. 9 to 5, it's a whole lot different on the battlefield right there. Especially with striking return, this is a very unfair competition. It took me a lot of time to go through and consider what unit would best face in a comparable match with the Titans. There's no alligator unit that has a spear in the main game. I figured melee units, they have the same general tier 3, meant to be kind of a stopgap, a more of a defensive kind of guy, not very fast, but fast enough to have a kind of a second reserve kind of thing. So I figured they would match up with each other pretty well. So going through the stats here, we got attack 8 versus 7. The defense on the golem, as I figured, is a whole lot higher. The damage is a whole lot lower for the golem though. And the health is in the golem's side. Very interesting. Ability wise, the Tritons have a fire breath and a water immunity, while the special abilities for the golem is spell reduction 50. I wouldn't really say that the golems are better. I mean, the damage bonus on the side of the Tritons is a lot of an advantage, as is that fire breath. Going down to the next ones, the Iron Golem versus the Triton Warriors. We have a similar situation here, where the attack is better on the Triton, the defense is better on the Golem, the damage is better on the Triton, the health is better on the Golem. They're going back and forth here. The speed of the Triton is better. And the Golem has a similar ability of Bespell damage resistance 50, while the Triton Warrior has breath to the same breath attack, no retaliation, and a water immunity. This one, the Triton Warriors take. Yes, the Iron Golem has a lot more defense, but that's all they have in the corner overall. The damage cannot match up. There's no fire breath and no retaliation stuff for the Golem. They're nowhere near comparable. Next up, the Gorillas. I never thought I was comparing Gorillas in anything. Even more against mages. I did what I could to look through every tier 3 ranger unit in each faction, and the mages are the best ones to match up against Gorillas. So, here we are. So, starting with the Gorillas, we have, against a mage, we have an attack bonus on the mage's side, defense bonus on the gorilla side. Shots are more in the favor of the mages. Health is more in the favor of the gorillas. Good match here, right? Damage is in the favor of the gorilla. Special ability wise, there is a rage attack, which they both have. No melee penalty, they both have. While the mage has a hero's combat skill which costs 2 less mana. To me, if you're trying to play with a mage character, that's a high advantage to have. And their cost is more on the gorilla side, by 100 more. Going down to the Archmage versus the Furious Gorillas. We have a pretty good lock here. Attack is the same. Defense is more the gorilla. I'm not surprised in that one. The damage is on the gorilla's side. The shots are even. Impressive. The health is the Furious Gorilla's side. And they also have no retaliation, which is awesome when they're in melee. On that one, the first gorillas get the win on that one. So it's pretty much a tie, I would say. The mage beats the gorillas, and the furious gorillas versus the archmage. At least stat-wise. We have now got to the interesting one. Tier 5, the War of the Minotaurs. Which one's better, the Fortress Minotaur or the Mythology Minotaur? Going with the original Minotaur versus the Minotaur in Mythology, and the Minotaur King versus the Minotaur Lords. From the top, we can see that the defense for the Minotaur in the Mythology is worse than the one in Fortress, the damage is worse than the one in Fortress, the health is a little bit better than the one in the Fortress, the speed for the Fortress is a little bit better, the bonuses in the Fortress are a lot less than they are in the Mythology. You have unlimited retaliations and always positive morale, which is the same thing as per morale plus 1. So it comes down to that battle with the unlimited retaliations, which is a massive advantage. The unit that has a damage of 12 to 15 per unit. They may be a little bit, let's say, slower, but that's not going to matter that much. Minotaur King versus Minotaur Lord. Already, the Lords have this. The attack and defense are identical. The damage is identical. The health is a little bit better on the Lords. The speed is better on the King. Well, the morale bonus, again, is already there, but there's also a no retaliation and unlimited retaliations for the Lords. That, to me, might be a little bit OP. Granted, the Lords cost more than the Kings do by 200, and that may make it a bit more even, but that unlimited retaliations and no retaliation is kind of off the wall. For sure. So yeah, the Lords beat the stuffing out of the Minotaur Kings, and the regular Minotaurs in Mythology would also beat the other Minotaurs in Fortress. This isn't fair. Tier 6, the Cobra versus the Naga. This is a bit of a goofy match. I tried hard to think of a unit that's anywhere near similar to a Cobra. The Naga is the only thing that came up to my mind. That and Medusa. But I figure the Naga is a better match, seeing that they're both snakes of sorts, and both tier 6. Enough explaining. Let's see what this is, shall we? So, the Naga. 16 attack versus 15 on the Cobra. The defense, a little higher in the Naga. The damage is lower than the Cobra overall. The health is a lot higher, with 1 versus 80. The speed is in the Cobra's side. And in the abilities, the Cobra blows it away. It starts with no retaliation, a 50% chance to cast poison, and fearless. Versus the Naga that only has no enemy retaliation. Naga Queen versus the Ancient Cobra. Attack is tied. Defense, a tiny bit more than Ancient Cobra. The damage is better on the Naga Queen. Interesting. The health is better than the Naga Queen. The speed is a whole lot better than the Hydra. The Cobra, excuse me. That thing will haul ass across the battlefield in about 2 seconds. The abilities, though, are massively in favor of the Ancient Cobra. Versus the one no enemy retaliation, they are packing unlimited retaliation, 100% chance to cast poison after attack, no retaliations, and immunity to fearless. These Ancient Cobras are tanks. They're also a lot cheaper than Naga Queen, somehow. Don't know how that's even possible. Well, the Naga is a little bit more expensive than the Cobra. These Ancient Cobra are probably the strongest unit in this faction. They are the strongest unit in my opinion, overall. They hit like trucks over and over again. In my battles with them, they just carry weight. They are very fearsome sight in the battlefield, no matter where they are or what you're fighting. Moving on to Tier 7, the big baddies in town. We had the Temple Guards versus the Devil, and the Temple Defenders versus the Archdevil. I want to say quickly, I know this is horrible. This display is not good. I ran out of space. There's a lot to keep track of here. A lot of stuff you had to put in a screenshot, and it's just, it looks horrible. I did all I could, so I hope it's not too bad. It's at least, legible. So let's get into this, shall we? Temple Guards, they have an attack bonus. The defense is tied. The damage is tied. The health is slightly more in Temple Guard's favor. The movement is teleportation versus walking, which may be an advantage depending on how you see it. The cost is much less low for the guards. With 1 crystal versus 1 sulfur, that's an even trade-off. The abilities, though, is where the guards start to really shine. This is ridiculous, what it gets going here. They are vulnerable to Advanced Slayer. That's fine, right? Okay, fine. All good, right? Here's where it gets really crazy. Magic Damper costs a lot more for an enemy to use magic. They can cast Quicksand. They have a 40% chance to ignore defenses, as well as having an always positive luck. That is ridiculous. The abilities on the Devil are -1 to luck, and no enemy retaliation. That isn't even fair to me. The guards just beat the shiitake out of the Devil. Flat out. Moving on to the big baddies, the final showdown. Get ready to rumble, that kind of thing, right? That was lame. We have the Temple Defenders, which have a better attack. They have a tied defense. They have a much higher damage. They have a higher health. They have a lower speed, interestingly enough. And that surprises me a little bit. And for special abilities, the Archdevil has a -1 to enemy luck, no enemy retaliation, versus the Big Daddy. They are vulnerable to Kingslayer 3, which is Expert Slayer. There is a massive magic damper. They can cast Quicksand. They have an 80% chance to ignore part of the enemy defense for the attack, as well as always positive luck. That is ridiculous. These Temple Defenders are unbelievably stubborn. They're also much cheaper, massively cheaper, than the Archdevil. That isn't even a fair match in the slightest. It's wacky, that's all it is. I've looked at this stuff for a while now, I cannot grasp how much better the Defenders really are than the Archdevil, or any similar units. I did attempt to look for other units that are similar, but I went with Dragons, they're not very similar enough. I went through the Titans, which aren't really similar enough in my opinion. But the Devil was probably the best overall match, and I guess I have a lot of thoughts. The Mythology City is quite fun to play with. It's got some good units in it. Some of the earlier ones are kind of slacking, like the Centauri, which can be pretty easily slaughtered by much anything. It might be better overall than the Centaur, but it doesn't feel like it, at least. At least in my early experience with it. Maybe in numbers should be a lot better, like the Centaur is, but it didn't impress me in any way. The other units aren't bad. I mean, the monkeys are kind of they're okay, but I mean, the Tridons really didn't impress me. I gotta be honest with that one. But once you're getting like the Minotaurs, the snakes, and the Temple Defenders, that stuff is intense. They're really good. I'm looking forward to using them more on my own. I'm gonna keep this faction, and I hope you'll get it yourself.